Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. We now have the next 4 stages of build kit from Knight Rider. Now, you've probably noticed the large box to the right of me. That contained the main shell for kit. That's looking just like that. Looking absolutely brilliant. However, this is came with issue 67. We're not doing anything with that. The instructions that we get for issue 67 all contain the parts that we received in issue 66, and it's the only reason I've got the car up here. So we're going to be putting the parts that we got in 66 onto the back of here and covering the circuit board, and the rest of the issues we're going to be building up a door. So without further ado, let's get building. Okay, so we're kicking off with issue 67. So just a quick flick through the magazine again. And as you can see, this is the part we got today. And we're using the battery cover and the boot liner that we got last time. Also, we're going to need our wires that we pulled out previously, and that's what we're going to end up with. So I've got my Partwork upgrade mat here, so I'm going to show you this in closer detail. That is the frame of kit. Now when we come to do this, we've got these bracing bars in here. If you've done any of these Partwork models, you know that these just will be removed. But for now, we're going to put this somewhere safe and wait for another issue. Hopefully next month we'll do something with this. Right, so these are the parts we got with issue 66. And what we're going to be doing is quite simply joining this part. This is the fuel tank, and we're going to be joining the filler to this in that location just there, and we're going to use the BP screw to secure that in place. So there is a little keyway and a shape to this, so ensure that you have it in the correct way. And that sits in just like that. Now we bring over the car, and this is going to sit over just like that, and we're going to use a couple of GM screws just to secure it there and there. Now you might have to do a little bit of wire tidy just to make sure this sits down properly. Now this is going into metal, these are GM screws, so just dabbing it into a little bit of oil. And if you're not using the chocks that came with the car, just be careful when also pushing down on this that you don't put too much strain on the suspension. So that's in there like that. And then we've got the boot, and that's going to slot over this, just behind these rear seats, and just sit in just like that. And we're going to be securing that with even more GM screws. So the 4 screws we've got to go in, we've got to line them up through here, so the back of the seats or the floor pan, and then through here as well. Same with this side over here, and then we've got the 2 just here and here. Make sure that this is popped over those 2 lugs. Right, so the next thing we need to do, we need to concentrate on the front of the car, and asking us to get the cables that we pulled out previously. The first things being the little switch cables. It's just a case of reattaching where they came from. So these are the B cables. So just like that. So next we need this one labelled R. And we're going to reconnect that one. We're going to reconnect the motor. And cable labelled M. Just like that. So now you should have all your cables connected apart from A, which is the scanner light. Right, so that's all those bunched together. I'm just going to rest them just there. So that's it for the car, so we can get this moved out of the way. Right, moving on to issue 68. And you can see we're working on the beginning of the door. And this is the door. And as you can see, the paint quality on these is not brilliant. I know a lot of people had issues with the bonnet finish, and I'm disappointed to say that the door doesn't look much better. You can see all the marks and the scratches. I'm hoping a polish will help with that. But let's get building it anyway. I've got my Partwork Upgrade map up here to not add any more blemishes to this, because we are going to be working on this side of the door. So the other bits we got were the mirror parts and a couple of internal parts. And the first thing we're going to be doing is placing the door handle just in there. It's got a couple of keyholes, so you've got the larger hole and you've got a smaller hole, and we're just going to be lining those up and pushing it into place like that. And then we'll be securing it from this side using an AP screw. Just like that. Now switching over to this side, and we've got the door catch, I believe, and that's just going to sit in just like that. I do realise it's black on black and you can probably not see that. So it's going to go just like that. You've got the hole here, and we're going to secure that using a QM screw. So the QM screw just going in there. And that's looking just like that. Next we've got the mirror. So this is just going to push fit in. You've got the little peg on there. And we're going to just line it up and push it in. So that's in there just like that. And then we're going to be placing it on the door. And you can see there's that little lug on there. It's going to go through the hole in the door and sit just like that. You can see there. We're going to secure that in place with a GM screw. And that's it for stage 68. Okay, so moving on to issue 69. And as you can see, we're working on more of the door and the door hinge itself. So this is what we've got in this stage, including the window, which I don't think we're using in this particular stage. So let's just put parts to one side. We'll bring over the door again. And we're going to be placing the hinge in there. And you can see it's that way around. We are then going to be placing this cover plate over that. Now I believe that's going to work as like a spring mechanism, and to keep that nice and rigid so the doors don't just flap open and close. We're going to secure that in place with a NM screw. And this is a large flanged screw. Again, I've put it in oil, and we're going to want this nice and tight. So that is now in there, and there's plenty of resistance on that hinge. And next we're going to be getting the self-adhesive strips, and we're going to be placing them along the edge of here. And then just going to follow that one up with this one. So that's looking just like that. And that's all there is to do in this stage. So, final issue for this box. I'm going to be concentrating on the door card. And we will be attaching it to the door we've already started. So, lots of bits in this one. So, the first thing I'm going to be doing is getting this little bit of material, and it's self-adhesive, and we're going to be sticking it on the door card. So all I'm doing is peeling the backing off as I'm laying it down. It's going to be the easier option to try and get this straight, I think. Now, after sticking that down, I've just realised that is for the right door. This curve doesn't fit, and that little tab should be up there. So I'll have to contact FanHome and see if I can get a replacement part for that one. I'll continue on for a minute as if that is the correct bit, but as you can see, the curvature and everything is completely wrong on that one. Right, so next up, we're going to be getting this piece, and that's going to place just in there, like so. It's only a push fit, no screws on that one. Next, we're going to get our little console here, and from the back, we're going to be placing in door handle. Just into that little recess, like that. And then we're going to be securing that to the door. we're going to be securing that with a BP screw just in there. Just looking just like that. Next, we're going to get this little trim piece, and that's going to go just into those holes along there. And then we've got this other bit of material which is going to go and sit just there. And as you can see, I've actually got the correct bit. I'm just going to line this up along this silver piece. Just like that. And then spread it down. Next up, we've got the armrest and the door pull, and that's just going to go into the holes you can see here. We've got 3 holes. That's just going to sit just like that. We're going to secure it from the back using 2 BP screws. So one here and one just here. That's looking just like that. So need to put these gears onto these little lugs, starting with that lower one, then that one, and then we've got the arm just like that. They're going to be secured by DP screws. And they're the flanged screws. So you can see that's all moving. You're not going to want these screws too tight, otherwise you'll restrict the movement on the gears. So we're going to get our window, we're going to be placing it that way around. It's got these little runners that you can see here, so we just need to line those up. Make sure the hole goes over the arm there, and we're going to put a DP screw in there to hold that in place. Again, you're not going to want that too tight. As you can see, that's going to operate the window just like that. Now we're going to be putting these 2 parts together now. Hold the glass that way, and then sandwich them together just like that. We're going to be securing that with some AM screws all around. Right, so that is now what it's looking like, all finished. As you can see, the window operates. Now, when I first put this together, the window didn't operate, and what had happened is it had fallen off the runners on the inside of this door. So when you put these together, do make sure the window is sat in the runners properly, and you do need to make sure this is fully squeezed up tight for that to stay on the runners, because as you can hear, it is a little bit loose in there, and it's easy enough for it to fall down and be pulled up without the little handle. But you do have this little gear wheel here. So that is it. And that is all there is to do in this box. So I'm going to contact FanHome about this. So I'm going to have to take the door apart again, just so that I can replace that section. And we have this little switch cover, and we're told that we just need to keep this somewhere safe. So make sure you do not lose that one. And just because we have it, I'm going to bring the frame over and just place that like that. That is looking absolutely brilliant, isn't it? I highly recommend getting yourself a Partwork upgrade mat. Certainly now we're at the stage where we're getting body panels and painted metal parts. It will just save any additional damage to these parts, I will talk to FanHome about the quality of the paint on this and see if they have any better ones. But I will also try and give this a really good polish and see whether that will do anything. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to give me a big thumbs up. So that's the door done, and it's looking just like that now. I have given this a bit of a polish, as you can see, and the marks on it that have certainly reduced, so it's looking a lot better. All I've done with that, I've just used a bit of Colourfast K.I.T.T and just polished it up as per the instructions on the back. Also, we've got the frame that we're not doing anything with, so we now need to find a home for this and keep this somewhere safe. And speaking of keeping things safe, obviously this little switch cover doesn't need to go back in your parts box. We also got some RM screws with this issue as well, so those will need to be kept safe as well, as we didn't use them on any of the parts that we had in the last issue. So if you want to see more of how KITT progresses or anything else that goes on the workshop, please do remember to hit that subscribe button and ding that bell. Then you'll be notified when I release a new video. Until next time, I'll see you around. Cheers.